The stars above are gleaming bright as waves sing softly through the night. We stroll along the sandy shore. With every step I love you more. The ocean's lullaby so sweet, a rhythm in our hearts repeat. The breeze whispers a tender tune as we sway under the beach moon. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land. With your hand gently holding my hand. In this seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. As twilight fades to dawn's first light, your eyes still sparkle, oh so bright. With every wave my love renews, eternal like the ocean blues. The sun peeks out a golden hue, painting skies with colors true. Our hearts are light, our spirits free, in this perfect beachside symphony. We'll remember these nights so clear, where love and laughter banish fear. Just you and me and stars above, in this place that's made for love. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land. With your hand gently holding my hand. With your hand gently holding my hand. In this seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land. With your hand gently holding my hand. In this seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. Echoes in our mind. The melody that echoes in our mind. As twilight fades to dawn's first light, your eyes still sparkle, oh so bright. With every wave my love renews, eternal like the ocean blues. The stars above are gleaming bright as waves sing softly through the night. We stroll along the sandy shore. With every step I love you more. The ocean's lullaby so sweet, a rhythm in our hearts repeats. The breeze whispers a tender tune as we sway under the beach moon. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land. With your hand gently holding my hand. In the seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. As twilight fades to dawn's first light, your eyes still sparkle, oh so bright. With every wave my love renews, eternal like the ocean blues. sun peeks out a golden hue, painting skies with colors true. Our hearts are light, our spirits free, in this perfect beachside symphony. We'll remember these nights so clear, where love and laughter banish fear. Just you and me, and stars above, in this place that's made for love. Let's dance. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land, with your hand gently holding my hand. In this seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. Let's dance where the tide kisses the land, with your hand gently holding my hand. In this seaside paradise we find a melody that echoes in our mind. Melody that echoes in our mind.
All right. What's up, people? We are live. Right. So today, what are we talking about? All right. So as you know, there's a new craze out there that's taking the world by storm, and that new craze is vibe coding. Of course, now there is a spec engineering looming on the horizon. However, it's all the same. It's all semantics. Whatever you call it, it is what it is, right? It's AI assisted coding, whether it's agents, whether it's through any sort of LLM. AI assisted coders do pretty much the same thing, and some of them better than others. But you have the windsurfs, the cursors, then you have the CLIs, the command line tools, like Gemini and Claude, right? And recently, I guess Kimmy K too, and there's a multitude of them. So today, um, let's talk about AI coding in its entirety. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is basically let's address everything point by point. Okay, point number one. So AI as a coding assistant. Okay, it is not a replacement. It's just an assistant. As you can, as you can see, as I can attest to it, AI coding will. AI assisted coding will yield different results. Depends on what the scope of the project is and what type of tools you're using. So, if you're looking at auto completion, you can, tab completion, generating boilerplates, writing tests, etc. I mean, it is great for that, right? I actually recommend it because writing documents for a whole code base is no small feat. In fact, you have people dedicated to do just that. But now, with the help of AI, it's no longer necessary to have a human. Of course, you still have to have a human in the loop, but it's no longer necessary to have a human sitting there actually just writing docs for a particular project. Now AI could do it in record time, and all you need is a human in the loop that goes and kind of do QC, quality control. You know what I mean? QA rather, so quality assurance. But when you look at the rise of vibe coding, right? The rise of vibe coding, as you know, it was introduced by Andre Karpathy in early 2025. So, vibe coding refers to an intuitive interaction with AI using natural language prompts or voice commands to produce working code with minimal human micromanagement. This approach, of course, democratizes the software creation landscape. So it comes with trade-offs, naturally, especially around code quality and maintainability. And that goes without saying, because if you're not paying attention to your code base, right, what ends up happening is you end up with what we call spaghetti code, right? So spaghetti code is a real thing where you code incessantly without actually paying attention to what the LLM is doing. So of course you're looking for trouble. So what you need to do is essentially make sure you babysit the LLM, so to speak. And in so doing, you ensure that everything stays on track, and you have to stay in control. It's not an autopilot that you put faith into it 100%. You have to be cognizant of the fact that it is not a replacement, but it's almost like hiring a junior dev to work alongside you, okay? It is not a replacement. It's not going to write things for you. It'll help you, okay, be a little bit more productive. But at the end of the day, you're still responsible for the quality of the code. You're still responsible to go and do implement proper tests, to implement proper QA, quality assurance, because you never go live, okay, to go from dev to production on a vibe coding project. And we got Amar in the chat. Amar, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was good.
Good. Yeah, just you can hear me now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just doing a little bit of a presentation here on a little bit of an update when it comes to AI assisted coding, what the misconceptions are, and what it's really about. It's a productivity hack, right? It's a productivity hack. It is not a replacement, because there's a lot of discussions out there where people think, well, if you go in and vibe code a project, then you could jump to an MRR of $1 million a year. It just doesn't happen that way. You have to do your due diligence. You have to do the right thing when it comes to use the tools as they intended to be used. Of course, they're getting better, right? Cursor's getting better, Windsurfer's getting better, Augment Code is getting better. But at the end of the day, you have to still be vigilant. So let me ask Amar. We got Amar on Discord right now. So I know you don't use a lot of AI to code, right? So what are your views on AI assisted coding? Go ahead, Amar.
Okay. So AI assisted coding, I mean, just like anything else, and I would not change my opinion about AI, which is that let me just code this thing, right? And then I will explain briefly what I'm talking about. It's not the technology which is evil, but rather the way you use it. Right? Now, what does it have to do with this context? So now I've seen many people, and it's a fact that AI can cause you to be an illiterate programmer if you use it the bad way, right? And if you use it the right way, you can become extremely top 1% coders. Even you can literally do innovations with using AI only if you use it the right way. So when it comes to my opinion on AI assisted coding, I would always say that use AI to reinforce your skills, not to downgrade them. I have what the most people do is they generate the entire code from AI and just stare at the screen and letting AI do everything. That is not the right way to code. Now, of course, it depends on your goals as well, right? So if your goal is to not to become a, let's say, a computer scientist in future, or you don't want to do any invention, you just want to build an app, and so that's why you are doing AI, then go ahead, you can do AI, you can use anything you want to generate code. But if your goals are, let's say, you want to invent something, you want to give something to world, let's say you want to bring a revolution to tech, you want to do something world changing, then you and first, and something else that I want to say here is that many people consider coding as just something that you can do to build apps and websites. That's not real coding. Coding is what powers everything, right? From operating systems to the mobile phone you're using, the internet coming to your home, the satellites in the space, the rockets in the space, everything is run by code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so, yeah, so like if you wanna be, let's say, a computer scientist in future and wanna do an innovation, right, and wanna do a discovery, then if you use AI the right way, it can increase your chances of doing innovation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
Let's say
sure.
if I was let's say we had uh ChatGPT or AI in, let's say, 1900s. And Nikola Tesla used AI to reinforce his mind, reinforce his critical thinking skills, and do better innovations. Not to just totally depend on AI and let it do everything and you are just staring on your screen. You so those are my opinion. And at the end I would again say that it's not the technology which is evil, but rather the way you use it.
Oh,
That's
well,
my
well,
that's
yeah.
my opinion.
Well said, Amara. Well, basically, that's kind of in line with what I just said in the first 2 points. It's basically is there to be used as a tool, not to replace knowledge, not to replace coding. As I indicated in even in previous videos and previous lives, is the fact that a lot of the things that you see people are raving about when it comes to AI assisted coding is you see people say, well, I just coded an app in 10 minutes. Well, yes, you can. What is the app? And when you look at the app, what is it? It's a simple calculator, okay? Or
Yeah.
it's a weather app,
To-do
or
list.
it's a to-do list. Yes, of course you can do that, but can you vibe code a Netflix? Can you vibe code an Amazon? Can you vibe code a Shopify in 10 minutes? No, you cannot, because
Absolutely not.
even if you could, would I recommend it? No, I would not, because you still have to have a human in the loop, and you have to realize that in terms of context awareness, most coding agents or AI coding assistants, they don't have a large enough context to work on large code bases. The minute you reach a certain number of files or lines of code, the context is completely lost, and the AI assistant starts hallucinating, and it breaks the code, and it's literally unusable. So maybe in the future things will get to a point where context will surpass the million mark. When you have a couple of million context window, then things will be a little bit more interesting to work on larger code bases. Even still, you will have to have a human in the loop, because let's say you're implementing an API, and the AI coding assistant introduces a bug or a backdoor into your code. Therefore, you become vulnerable, and especially if you have a paywall on your project, where your clients now are paying to access whatever service, whether it's a SaaS, whether it's a course, whatever it is, or it's an e-commerce platform. You have to be able to guarantee that to a certain degree, because you can't guarantee 100%, that you do everything possible so that credit and credit card information, payment information is secure. So that's the major point. That's the major point when it comes to using the tools. Now let's look at point number 3. Then I'm going to ask you what you think about point number 3. So it's about productivity and gains versus reality, because a lot of people say, well, I can code faster. Well, okay, you can code faster, but what exactly are you coding? Are you coding a simple HTML? Yeah, you can do that in Lovable or Bolt or Replit. Okay, these platforms, you can use one prompt and then you can publish directly from the platform. Now, when it comes to productivity, when you're creating more elaborate projects, okay, see, point number 3, productivity, right? It says, although many developers feel that tools boost speed, but the data suggests otherwise, okay? So basically, there's a study that found that developers using Copilot or maybe Cursor or Windsurf for these other agents, they only complete about 20% slower by any task that they actually set out to implement or to implement, right? It goes 20% slower. And then why does it go 20% slower? And I can say that it goes 20% slower because you spend a lot of time undoing the problems that the AI coding assistant introduces, because the AI coding assistant doesn't want to say it doesn't know. If it doesn't know something, it is going to make something up. So it hallucinates, right? So you end up
Yeah.
having to waste a lot of time to fix those problems. On the other hand, though, if you're working like a GitHub experiment with Copilot, so a 55% increase in completion time. And why is that? Because when you look at GitHub and you implement, branches and then you push things, that means now you're in control. That means you're coding, you're doing the work yourself. And there's a 55% increase in time where if you go pure AI coding agent or assistant, there's a 20% chance, or well, actually, there's a 20% decrease in speed of execution. So, what do you think about that, Amar?
Okay, so what you just said, you made comments about different. So you said that GitHub, like using different tools, can decrease or increase your performance,
Yeah,
right?
if you use
Now,
AI agents, it decreases by 20%. But if you use, let's say, Copilot, right? Like GitHub with Copilot,
yeah,
it accelerate your productivity by 55%. The major difference is if you the 20% slower, that means you only rely on AI. But if you use GitHub Copilot with GitHub with Copilot, then you have an increase of 55%.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, uh, so yeah, use AI to do what humans can do very easily, right? So if you're, let's say, uh, generating boilerplate. Now, look, as you said that if you wanna create an Amazon or you create complex thing like GitHub, something complex as Instagram, X website, right?
Hmm.
It's what AI cannot do, right? So you have to do it. So yeah, use it as a tool, as you said, and increase your productivity by it. Use the right tool, because using the right tool is one of the major components
Yep.
for faster coding. Because of course, as you mentioned, like using random AI tools can decrease your productivity by 20%, but using the right assistant can increase your productivity. So be mindful of what you're using, right? So if you're so like, and yeah, I mean, like it depends on preferability as well, right? So if you ask me, I do not like, I'm not a sort of vibe coder, but whom I, take tips and advice, coding advice and career advice from is ChatGPT. There are other AI tools as well, like Grok or DeepSeek, but I prefer ChatGPT for some reasons because of its UI and its interactability, right?
Hmm.
So be mindful of what you are using and use it to purely with the intention of just reinforcing your coding skills, not to depend on AI. That's my final opinion.
Yeah, no, cool.
And yeah.
That's the major takeaway throughout the whole piece, right? So basically, use it as a tool. Don't take it as a crutch. Don't take it as a replacement. All right. So where are we here? Yeah. So it's not a replacement, right? It's again, it's in the name. It's AI coding assistant, right? It's not AI coding replacement. And this is where the main problem is, because
Yeah.
a lot of people approach it as a replacement, but it's not a replacement. It is an assistant, right? That's how you got to look at
Hey,
it.
and your voice sounds like a robot for some reasons. I think your mic has messed up. Can you take a look at it?
Yeah, I
Because
think
you
it's
sound like a
the
robot.
really. I think it's the connection. What about now? Can you hear it now?
It's still messed up.
Yeah, hang on. What about now?
It's
Hello?
better. It's better.
Better.
No, no, no. Again, same. What's the problem?
Okay. No, I think it's the huh. Okay, I think it's the connection. Hang on, give me a sec. Let's see. 1 2 1 2 check 1 2 check 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 2. Hang on a second. Let's stop. All right, music stop. What about now? How is it?
Better.
Cool. I think no, everything's actually pretty cool. SSD 83, RAM. Okay, 85%. Yeah, maybe I'm
By the
just
way,
pushing the machine load too
I
much.
wonder. Yeah. Okay. I want your opinion on something. Like I even posted it on X. Uh, where do you think AI will reach in the next 5 years?
Where it'll reach in the next 5 years? That means now we're in 2025 and 2030. We'll be close to achieving
Yeah.
AGI. We'll be close to achieving AGI in 5 years. Very close.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
That's your opinion.
well, according not just my opinion, according to the trajectory of things, according to the way things are progressing, um, within the past, I would say within the past 3 months, the amount of progress that's been made is more than the entirety of progress that has been made in the past 3 years. You see? So if you extrapolate from that, right, you can deduce that as we progress by, let's say now we're already halfway through the year. By the end of the year, things are going to be not just double what they are now. They're going to be exponentially. They might be 10x what they are now. And in 5 years, in 5 years from now, I'm pretty sure we will achieve AGI because things are progressing so rapidly, and not just in software, right? Not just in the Kimi Ks and Claude, Opus, and all these other LLMs, but also in hardware. And I tell you why in a second. All right. Have you checked out the benchmark that was for all the current LLMs that was published? Let's see, what date are we today? 26th. I believe this was published yesterday. Have you checked out the benchmarks?
No.
Right. So for the benchmarks, it kind of show you what exactly is happening in terms of capability of these LLMs, and then how it's a race. It's a race between um, OpenAI, okay, Anthropic,
Microsoft.
right? Actually, the Microsoft is not in the top. Microsoft is there.
Meta.
Yeah.
Meta is one of them.
Uh,
Meta is one of them.
Meta is not even on top yet, because the top right now, okay? Because I'm actually, in fact, let me share this screen so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay, come on, browser. Live search. All right, cool. All right, let me just close that. Let's go to let's turn off EarthCam, turn off dim, turn off Windows, and turn off. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. All right,
Alright.
so you see, let's look at the global average. Okay, I don't know if you could see. Let's grab my cursor. All right, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say global average of the top LLMs as of yesterday. Okay, O3. Okay, that's OpenAI. O3 Pro. And I think this one, this model, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's we can only access it with the $200 a month subscription. Okay, O3 Pro High. Okay, global average is 74.72. And in terms of reasoning, okay, 94. But coding average, right? We're looking at 76, and in agentic coding is 31. So you could see some of these models will score higher in certain places and they'll score lower in certain other places. And as you can see, the top two are OpenAI. Then you have Anthropic.
Yeah.
Then you have Grok 4, okay, with XAI. Claude 4 Sonnet is still top 5. This is again Anthropic. And then you have OpenAI. See, if you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Google only shows up in number 8 with their best model. This is Gemini 2.5 Pro Max thinking. And they only score 70.95. Reasoning is pretty high. Okay, in terms of reasoning, yes, it'll do some nice research for you. Coding average, 73.9. Okay. Agentic, 20. And then look at all these other ones. 31.
It is bad.
Exactly.
ਆਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਛਾਇਆ ਮੈਂ ਜੀ ਕਰ
36. Who's that?
ਇਹ ਲਾਲ ਬੈਗ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਆ
Is that Zane?
Hey, we got Zain in the chat.
What's up, Zane?
ਮੰਜੀ ਕਰਦਾ
Acha. What's going on? All right, let's continue. Welcome, Zane. And as you can see, DeepSeek was doing very well not too long ago. And you see they're down here now.
Yeah.
70.1, but still reasoning. That means they're still very well ranked when it comes to reasoning. And then they start losing the plot. Okay, coding, that's not too bad. It's still in line with a lot of these things. But then in terms of agents, okay, it still does better than Google, but it's not the top anymore. And then 2 months ago, it was the top. All right. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, Claude Sonnet 3.7 was the top. So this is, about 5 months ago, this was the top. Okay. So this is what we were able to achieve within 5 months. So you can see global average. That was a global average, 67.4. And now we're at 72. And reasoning was 76. Now we're at 97. That's the highest score. That's almost perfect.
Yeah.
You see? So so you see, when you look at it that way, then you realize what's happening now and 6 months from now is going to be completely different. What we're going to be able to do is going to be truly groundbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah. Big Ask. What's going on? Big Ask. Big Task. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah. I know you told me That's not how you pronounced it. Okay, I'm gonna call you BAH. Happy Saturday. Hope that everything is going great. Everything is awesome. Everything's awesome, man. I haven't seen you in a chat in a while. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget, drop a like. And if you have a second, just drop over by Kick and give us a follow. Good to see you, bro. All right. So let's get back to the let's get back to the let's finish this. So as you guys can see in the background before we continue, so what you're looking at right now is Japan. Early morning. This is sunrise in Japan. I believe this is a view of I believe it's Nagoya or Osaka. That's Japan in the background.
Wow. They're so organized, dude. Like you'll
Very.
find nothing like that in Pakistan or
Yeah.
even in India
Yeah.
or
Yeah. I
in
mean,
any third world.
yeah. Japan is very, very orderly. Japan is very, very clean. Very, very nice
Have you
place.
been there? Have you been there?
Yeah, a few times. I've been to Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka. I like Nagoya. I like Osaka. Tokyo is very busy. You know, Tokyo is like New York. You know, it's a lot of things going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Zane in the chat. What's up, Zane? Why did you mute yourself?
I guess he's listening. All right, Zane. So drop in whenever you can. So let's continue. All right. So just a few more points. Let's go. Point number 4. So this is kind of like what we were talking about, right? As you can see, persistent need for human oversight. And this falls right in line with what you're supposed to do. Okay.
Mhm.
For instance, if let's say Amar, let's say you're a senior developer, and Zane is your junior dev, right? And you give him a task to
Okay.
do. Are you going to let him do the task and then you push it to production? Or are you just going to make sure you
Of
go
course,
over
man.
it? What are you going to do?
Of course, of course, bro. I'll go over it and review it for multiple times, not even for one time, multiple times.
Exactly.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
by the way, I think like reviewing your code, like letting AI review your code is not a bad idea because so like let's say a human is reviewing code, right? Let's say the code is 1,000 line, right? How much time do you think it will take? It will at least take him to properly review the code. It will take him at least around, let's say, 30 minutes or even more if he is too focused, right? Let's say 1,000 line. I'm talking about thousands line, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And uh, so if you give the same code to AI, how much time do you think it will take to review? Less than 10 seconds. So you see this. Also, it's not going to be a very inaccurate prediction. It is going to be pretty accurate. Of course, it depends on what you are using. But if you're using something like which is good in reasoning, as you mentioned, like a ChatGPT or Grok, something like that, which has good coding ranking, then it can review your entire 1,000 line code and even suggest improvements to make your code efficient within less than 10 seconds. But if a senior developer is doing the same thing, then it will take him time, you know. So that is something that you can speed up with AI, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, which is, again, I covered that in point number 1. Okay. What to use AI for. Can you see this right here?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So testing is part of it. Uh, of course, again, still, you still have to have complete oversight. Of course, you're going to use AI
Yeah, of
to
course.
write the test, right? To conduct the test, because you're not going to sit there and go line by line to you know, even if you were a QA specialist, you know, a quality assurance. Back in the day, yeah, people would just sit there, and of course, you had other software that could, you know, that writes tests for you, and you run the test, but it was still such a manual process, and it was very cumbersome and time consuming. But now, of course, you still use AI to write the test, whether it's you know, an AI assistant that's included into your suite, whether it's Cursor or even something like Augment Code or any other AI coding assistant. You can still perform it, but some are better than others. Like Augment Code has better context awareness, so it would perform better. Definitely, you have to still be part of the loop. So persistent need for human oversight, right? So AI generated code often contains bugs or security flaws, which is this is the major one. Bugs is not a big thing. You could debug something, you know, if it's nothing major. Uh, you know, as long as the code is has been you've babysat the LLM, so to speak. You know, you kind of keep it in line. You got to keep it in check. Yes, but you are always going to have bugs, whether you code it manually or you use a you know, an AI coding assistant or agent. You're always going to have bugs. That's the reality of coding. You know, whether it's a human coded piece of code or AI, you're always going to have bugs. So you got to find out, okay, what the bug is, and then you fix it. So now we're talking about, okay, humans remain essential for architecture, debugging, reviewing, and system level thinking, as core academic paper puts it. You know, AI tools assist but do not replace. Again, you know, we can't stress that enough. It assists but does not replace. So the need for developer expertise, right? So Bill Gates, along with other tech leaders, has warned against full automation after real, you know, but it's foolish, because here's why. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. So they have warned against full automation after real incidents such as AI accidentally deleting production data, highlighted the necessity of built-in safeguards and clear responsibility. This is sheer stupidity right there. Here's why. I believe it was this week, either Wednesday or Thursday this week. I don't know if you heard about this. There's a there's a guy who had Replit. You've heard of Replit, right? The coding website.
Yeah.
Okay. So he basically, I guess, he plugged Replit into his production. This is a production site that is live. Okay. Then he tried to either implement a new feature or fix a problem. Then the AI deleted the whole database. And then when
Yeah,
he
yeah.
you
I just heard that
you
news.
heard
I
about that,
just heard that news.
yeah,
I
okay.
just heard it
So
like
when he asked
10
the
minutes ago.
AI, why did you delete the database? The AI says, no, I didn't delete it. Well, he says, well, I didn't. So of course, if I didn't delete it, you're the only one who has access. You deleted it. So the AI lied and says, no, I didn't delete it. So when he asked the AI to restore the deleted data, the AI says, I can't do that. It's gone. So where do you think this guy went
Hmm.
wrong?
Uh, are you asking for my opinion?
Yeah, where do you think he went wrong? The guy who actually connected Replit to the site. What did he do wrong?
Okay. So the reason behind him deleting the database, first of all, you know that AI does not think. Does think first, right? So it doesn't really know what it's doing. It's just predicting patterns to match them, right? You know what I mean, right? So like now the one who told reported this news that AI deleted his database must have made a mistake, right? Because AI is not like that. He will just enter into your system and delete your database like that. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to understand.
Well,
AI works on prompts, or like you have to give it order in order to make him work,
yeah, of course.
right? So
That goes without saying. That's the obvious. But
yeah,
that's not the first
yeah. So
mistake.
that's
That
something,
that's not the first
that's
mistake that
something
he
obvious,
made.
right?
What's
But
the number
do
one
you,
mistake that he made?
are there any sort of details about it?
No, according to what I've just told you. What's the
Okay.
glaring mistake you think that he made? I mean, it's very obvious.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are uncountable possibilities. So for like, why did the AI do that? I mean,
That's not the question. Yes, there are a lot of possibilities. All these are valid, okay? But the first, if you had to put one mistake on top of the pile, which one would it be? Which mistake you think that would be on top of the pile?
uh, okay. So let me think through it. Um, so like AI deleting an entire database, that is not something that happens very usually, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there must be a uh a sort of, could be a silly mistake behind it that
Yeah,
have caused
it is
it
silly. Yeah, it is a silly
to.
mistake.
What's the word? You know the mistake.
Yeah, I
What?
know it. I know it.
Okay, so
You want me
I'm
to
just
tell
gonna
you?
make a guess and then you can tell me.
Yeah, you
No,
want me
I
to?
don't know the exact reason. I
Yeah,
just go through. I just,
yeah. You want me
yeah.
to tell you? Let me tell you. The number one mistake he made is to connect Replit to a production site. Do you understand? You never work on a live site. You create a sandbox. You
Okay.
create a branch. That's the number one mistake. So if he was working on a development environment and Replit deletes the database, so what? Restore it. You know, talk shit to it. Tell it don't fucking do that again, and then restore the from Git or from another from GitHub or from another backup and keep it moving. But the stupidest mistake that he made is to connect to a production site. Do you get it?
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, look, connecting AI to a production level website, something very, very stupid,
Yeah,
right? You won't do that. Like anyone with a brain won't do that. Why would someone want their website to, like, AI can
exactly.
make website crash as well,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
nobody wants that. Like, why would you? Okay, first of all, tell me something if you know this. What exactly he wanted to do so that he downloaded or install or whatever he did Replit?
What he
Like,
wanted to
what
do?
was his exact
Yeah.
goal?
I don't have the detail, but
Like,
what I'm thinking. Okay, I don't have the correct. I don't have the exact detail what he was trying to do, but he was
okay,
probably he probably thought, okay, I can do this really quick without having to go, set up a development environment. Maybe there was a bug he was trying to fix. Maybe there was let's say it could be something as simple as, well, when I clicked this button and it didn't work. You know what I mean? He might have
okay,
gotten a
yeah,
ticket and says, "Hey, this site something is broken." He was trying to fix it real quick instead of taking the time. Instead of taking maybe half an hour, he wanted to do it in 10 minutes. So he took a shortcut, and the shortcut cost him. And these are the type of things that not just AI coding assistants that are stupid because they're not thinking, even though they say, well, thinking agents, thinking mode, but they're not really thinking. They basically count, on statistical data, and then they basically guess, okay, if this person asked me this, let me go into the vector database, and this is what I think he was asking me, so I'm going to predict what he wanted, and then I'm going to present what's more probable, and then it might be true, it might be false. but they don't think. AI is not there yet. They don't have the capacity to think. But this guy also, he has the capacity to think, so he should have thought carefully. You have to set
Yeah,
up a, you
exactly.
know, you got to set up a dev environment. This is where if you mess up, so what? You mess up the dev environment. In the dev environment, you have a backup. So what are you doing? You see? That's the major issue.
Yeah.
So that was stupid of him. So when I hear that, so now when you see guys like Bill Gates and other people saying, well, full automation, blah, 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 we're not there yet. And it's not going to happen within the next 4 years, 5 years. It's going to take a little longer than that. So,
Uh,
yeah, all that to
no,
say,
I mean,
we
no.
still need programmers, we need coders.
Of course we do, dude. I mean, if you rely on AI, you're just basically letting yourself, your company, your startup, whatever it is, die. Because it will have a lot of bugs and there will be no one to solve it. You need coders and programmers to improve. By the way, I mean, I have seen many people talking about AGI and it will come in the 4 to 5 years. By the way, I'm gonna start with machine learning in the next 2 days. So I'm gonna be an actual AI engineer. And by the way, from where do you read these research papers about AI and all that?
Different AIs. I use multiple AIs. I use ChatGPT. I use Perplexity. I use Kimike. I use Gemini. I use an average. I use three. Right. I use three research agents. Then I cross-reference them, and then if let's say 2 out of 3 give me the same data, and then there's a certain validity to it. And sometimes I go even further than that. Sometimes I use 5 different LLMs, different AI, to basically get the more accurate um, accurate data and the most recent data as well. And of course, you can do your own research. You know what I mean? You can do your own research and find out these things. And for instance, the page that I showed you earlier, uh, it's a pretty well documented page. The live benchmark. Okay, live benchmark. That's pretty. That's where everybody goes to get their to get the ranking of what's happening on a daily basis, and it's live. Okay, so that means whatever's happening is being updated as we speak right now, and daily you'll see a new ranking. You'll see, for instance, O3 Pro High. Okay, they're the top 2 models right now. Then you have Claude Opus. That's the third one. It's top 3, and Grok at number 4. And tomorrow, Grok might be at the top because at some point Grok was on top. But then they're always tweaking the model. Once you tweak the model and then you distill it and then you enhance its data set, of course you're gonna have better better quality code. The code's gonna be distilled and it's gonna be more fine tuned. And now the front runner is OpenAI, and OpenAI is basically they don't want to lose. They don't want, especially to DeepSeek, because at some point DeepSeek uh, uh, scared them.
Okay.
But now DeepSeek is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
By the way, what is DeepSeek doing nowadays? What is it doing?
DeepSeek is still there. It's still at number 9, right? They just released DeepSeek R1 2025 05 28. That's the model that actually kind of gave a Claude Sonnet a run for its money, but then right away Claude went back to the drawing board, and they didn't take the lead, but now they're ahead of DeepSeek. And DeepSeek, remember, DeepSeek is in China, right? So China is China has an agenda to beat the US when it comes to AI development. And they're doing everything possible to take the crown. And now, let's see. There's another one, okay, that you've heard of Quen 3.
No.
Quen, Alibaba, of course, Jack Ma.
Yeah.
So this is from
Yeah.
his company. Okay, right now they are at.
Mhm.
Let me see, 1, 2. I wish they put numbers here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15. Okay, Quen is at number 15. So Quen is where things used to be 6 months ago. Okay, but still, they are very capable. They are a lot cheaper to use their API, but most of their servers are in China. And a lot of people are afraid of that. Why are they afraid? Because whenever you ping their servers, your data goes to China. And if you have any sensitive information that you don't want to share with the rest of the world, well, a lot of people are staying away from Quen and DeepSeek. But if it's just, just a side project, whatever, you can use all these models. And not to say OpenAI and Google, they still collect your data. They still train their LLM on your data as well, except their server is not in China. It's in America. And right now, what DeepSeek and Quen, what they're doing is basically they host some of their servers in Singapore or somewhere in Europe, but mostly Singapore.
Okay.
So Quen, let me see,
So
Quen. Is it Microsoft? Microsoft is way down the list.
yeah, Microsoft is just investing money into AI, not really creating a lot of AI. Like, giving funding to companies like OpenAI to create better models, but it's not really very big into AI game yet. But they could, I mean, have a surprise entry in the race. Because still they got thousands of brilliant engineers and billions of dollars, right? So with that, you can do a lot of things. So we never know.
Yeah, well, Microsoft has been in the game for a while now. They're not just getting into it. If you know the Phi series, or some people call it Phi series, right? Microsoft has been in the game longer than XAI, than Grok. Microsoft has been in the game longer than DeepSeek. Yeah, because right now Phi 4, the Reasoning Plus model, is pretty pitiful. Right now, it's placed at number 36 on the benchmark, and in terms of global average, it's clocking 49 points, 49.2, where compared to OpenAI O3 Pro, it's 74.72. You see the difference? The major thing is Microsoft has so many assets that even if it doesn't win the race in creating an LLM, they're still winning. They're still a trillion-dollar company.
Yeah. Microsoft was created by Bill Gates and another guy. from, I guess, a room, I guess, or something like that. From, of course, very small thing, but now they're a $1 trillion company after 30 years or 40. How much time it has been since Microsoft was launched? Let me check for it. When was Microsoft launched? Wait, Microsoft was founded around 50 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Around one
Yeah,
year,
it's gonna
one
be
year earlier.
it's gonna be 50 years next year in April. It's actually 49 years, but that's a long time. That is a long freaking time.
Oh, dude, a lot. That is
Yeah, and
like,
guess Apple, same thing.
yeah, it was like 1976. So it
Yeah,
is. By the way, Google was started in 1998. So Google has achieved way faster than those companies.
yeah, and you know why?
Why?
Bec-
Because
bec-
everyone has Google on their phones.
no, not even that, because Google was not dependent on a hardware where
Oh yeah,
micro
it was something.
exactly. So Google is not attached, never attached to any particular hardware. That's the major problem. It was a top layer where Apple and Microsoft, right? You need a vessel for it. You know what I mean? You need an infrastructure for it. Although
Yeah,
Microsoft went the route of providing the second layer because you have the hardware layer, then you have the software, and you have all the other stuff. The applications and the front facing stuff. But Apple went crazy. Apple went, okay, we're gonna manage both hardware and software, and this is why Apple won in that sense because they control the whole ecosystem.
yeah, and like for Apple, iPhone was a turning point for Apple. I mean, before that, they still had a lot of support and reputation, but after iPhone, they just exploded. And Nvidia, let's talk about Nvidia. Nvidia has been exploding. Do you know that Nvidia became the number one company in terms of worth? So after like the AI race has begun, everyone is using Nvidia except for China, uh, because China, Trump, he banned Nvidia to export in China, but Nvidia has Nvidia's growth has skyrocketed after AI, right? You
Yep.
like Nvidia took around. Let me search for it. Nvidia. Let me search for it. Nvidia 1 billion. Nvidia took around 26 years from going to 1 billion to 100 billion. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
26 years
Mm-hmm.
to 100, just from 1 billion to 100 billion. And from 100 billion to 4 trillion, guess how much time they took? Only maximum 4 to 5 years
Yep.
after the rise of AI.
No, definitely they're winning, and you know that Nvidia is now they have a competitor. Uh, China just actually launched a chip, a GPU chip. Let me find it. And to the point that uh what's his name? Huang, the head of Nvidia.
Jensen,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's Chinese, he's Chinese American, right?
He's Taiwanese. I mean,
But
it's almost same people, but yeah.
who? Jensen Huang?
Yeah, he was born in Taiwan, not China.
Well, don't let China hear you say Taiwan is not part of China. Taiwan is still China.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a separate country. Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah, it's a huge part of China. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
But
it's just a
it,
political
it, it's
thing.
I mean, it has gotten its separate capital, and Taiwanese people are still called Taiwanese and not Chinese. But yeah, they're part of China. That okay. So yeah, we can say that. Okay, continue with
Right.
your part.
You'll never hear him say. Of course, he'll probably say it in casual conversation, but you will not hear him say, "Well, he is not Chinese." He can say yes, okay, he's Taiwanese, right? I hear a lot of people say, "Okay, yeah, I'm Taiwanese." That's that's valid, but when it comes to the political elite in China, especially him now, he wants to do business with China, but because of the U.S. Because Nvidia, at the end of the day, is a U.S. company, and they do most of their business with the U.S. He wants to remain on the good side of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Therefore,
Yeah.
he will tell you, hey, listen, whatever happens, right? Business is his number one thing. So he's not a politician. He's not gonna. In fact, let me see if I could find. He was in China just recently, giving a talk about Nvidia in collaboration with with China. And for the first time, he actually, because he even said it himself, for the first time, he gave a speech in Mandarin Chinese, because he doesn't,
Oh, okay.
he doesn't really speak. I mean, his Chinese is very rusty because he grew up speaking English, so his Chinese is very rusty. So he even, I mean, he did part of the speech in Mandarin Chinese, and then he switched back to English. He said, "Okay, I don't want to torture you guys because my Chinese is really bad, so I'm going to continue in English." And then at the same
Yeah.
in the same conference,
But
he what he
yeah.
said is basic.
Okay.
What he said is basically, AI uh, um, AI advancement is not going to be where it should be without America and China together. Instead of fighting, they should
Mm,
collaborate.
exactly. That that guy in White House, he won't let that happen.
Yeah, but it's not going to be there forever. So I'm pretty sure as soon as he's gone,
Yeah.
things are going to be
Like
different.
China and America are superpower countries, so their conflict is not going to be there forever. There it is going to be resolved, and we hope that they like collaborate and make AGI
Yep.
because like China has got one of the best engineers in the world, right? And America has got a better, I mean, of course not better, but he has a very good infrastructure, very good, you know, research and all that. So if they collaborate, they will be unstoppable. By the way, uh, I like why do not we have minds like Tesla and Newton and Einstein in today's world? I need
Why?
your opinion.
Why? Well,
Why don't we
yeah,
have
it's very simple. It's very simple because we have been distracted, and we have been dumbed down in a lot of ways. Okay. Um, and they, let's say, 18th, early 19th century, 20th century. Okay. Uh, the scholars had less distractions. Scholars had less noise, because right now the signal to noise ratio is deafening. Right? There's so much noise that people are getting distracted by Netflix, by TikTok, by Instagram, by you name it. Okay, the distraction is there. But imagine in the early 19th century, early to mid 19th century, uh, by sundown, Okay, everybody was at home because where were you gonna go?
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't they didn't have street lights, they didn't have street lamps, right? There were no TV. And fast forward to the early to mid 20th century, where um, even there was no internet. Television, you probably had one TV station, and it wasn't 24 hours. It functioned between, let's say, uh, 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. And they had the news. If the president of the country, of the prime minister, had to say something, he said something, and that station was owned by the government. And then after that, they played the national anthem. Then it was out. It was gone. And then what do? You go to sleep or you read, right? You couldn't grab your phone and doom scroll, right? So a lot of these scholars had had a lot of time and a lot of focus time to really dive into deep thinking, and that's why they were able to realize what they've done. That's why they were able to reach the level of excellence that they reached, because they were not distracted at every point. You know what I mean? You could be sitting here trying to work, and then somebody's sending you messages. You have WhatsApp, you have Discord, you have your phone's ringing, and then the TV's playing in the background, music is playing next door. That simply didn't exist in the last 2 centuries, in the 19th century, the early 20th century. That's why.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons. And like that doesn't mean that we don't have good minds right now. Another reason is that, I mean, you said about distractions, that's a big reason why don't we have minds, more minds like Tesla or Newton, right? And the second thing is that in nowadays, influencers or social media TikTokers, or let's say like they people, they are more, famous than any scientist nowadays, any researcher nowadays, right? Like they're basically, we do have good minds even now, but they're basically under the noise, right?
Yeah,
Under the
it's fu-
night.
yeah, it's fu- yeah, it's
They're
funny
alone.
it's funny you say that, right? Um,
It's a
because
truth, yeah, it's a fact, right?
no, it is a fact. Yeah, it's funny you say that, but although it is true, it's the fact that let's say if you go anywhere in the world right now, and you ask anybody who's, let's say, above the age of 10, right? And you ask him, "Do you know who Michael
Yeah.
Jackson is?"
Or
He's
who Ronaldo is.
exactly. Or do you know who Messi
But
is?
if you ask Yeah, but if you ask him who is, modern day Tesla, they wouldn't know.
They
If you
would
ask
know.
them who is modern day Einstein, they
Yeah.
wouldn't
If
know.
you ask him if they know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is, they won't know. If you ask him who could I think of? That's a modern day. If you ask him who, I can think of Neil deGrasse Tyson. I can think of what is his name? He was in a wheelchair. His name eludes me. Um, there are a couple, not that many, but at the end of the day, we we practice what they call cult of personality. And even I'm not sure if the Quran talks about it, but the Bible talks about it. They call it idol worshippers. So when you start idolizing men instead of, you know what I mean, things that matter,
Yeah,
and you could translate that into our modern world, where instead of looking up to heads of industry, to scientists, to astronauts, you know what I mean, to doctors, firefighters, we basically idolize entertainers, uh, sports figures, you know, and And do yourself a favor, research the fall of the Roman Empire. Okay, before Rome, before the Roman Empire collapsed, do you know who they used to idolize more than anything else, more than gods?
Ooh, the king or what?
Take a guess. No, they have emperors. They didn't have kings, but you know, they had Caesar. They had Brutus. They had Nero, and of course you had the whole thing with between Egypt and you know Cleopatra and all that type of stuff, right? So when you look at the fall of the Roman Empire before it collapsed, you know who they used to idolize? Not the higher ups. They used to idolize the gladiators. You've seen the movie Gladiator, or you've heard of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, gladiator. Yeah, the fighters, right? The
Ex-
fighters.